Hey guys, this is Marshall with AGL Thermal Drone Services. Tonight I was sitting at home watching TV, my phone rang, and an excited hunter called and said, "Hey, man, I really need some help." I took my young son hunting, and this humongous 8-pointer walked out in front of us, and we took the shot. The buck should have dropped, but he didn't. I found a little bit of blood to start with, then I found good blood, and then it just quit. And this is the first time that I've had my son in the stand with me, and I wasn't sure if the hunter had shot him or if the young son had shot him, because the hunter was so excited. So I told the man I would get up, I'd get my equipment ready, and I'd be on the way. And while I was on the way, I believe he called me and said, "Hey, are you still coming?" I said, "Oh yeah, I'm on the way." And he said, "Well, I've already called for a dog because this buck is so big. I just wanted to make sure that we found this buck." He described it as an 8-pointer that had 12-inch G2s. I mean, he said this is one of the largest bucks I think I've ever had on my property. And my son is so excited, and I'm excited because he was with me, and we really need to find this deer. And I assured him, I said, "Well, if you hit him good, we'll find him. I mean, if the dog needs to look, we'll send the dog." But I felt confident that I would be able to find him with the drone. So I continued on, and when I got there, I immediately started to search next to his property, and he hunts right next to his house. And I immediately saw a thermal signature, what you see in the screen here. And I was turning to see what it was, and he was like, "Is that him? Is that him?" I said, "Well, hold on. I see the deer, but it looks like he's not wounded, and this one's standing up. And I can see a small rack." And I said, "That's not the one you shot, is it? Because that's not a big deer." He assured me, "Oh no, the one I shot is much bigger than this one." So we zoomed in a little closer just to make sure that we were looking at a smaller buck. Sure enough, it was a nice little young buck. So he's excited that the drone can see, what we're looking at, because he's never seen the drone actually used before. And I don't know that he's ever seen it on YouTube. So a lot of folks, when I bring this drone out, they've never seen this, and they're just amazed at how you can see deer from, so high up in the air. I panned over and saw another heat signature. And when I zoomed in on this one, I could see the body, and panned down, I could immediately see it was a doe. Well, my hunter had a buddy with him, and he had helped him search prior to my getting there. And they stated that he would walk to the last blood, and you can see the thermal signature of the buddy that he had coming into the viewfinder right there. That's a man walking, and he said he was going to walk to the last blood, and then I would search from there. So I turned on the light and verified that he was standing there, and I began to search out in front of him. The hunter felt like the deer had probably made a left turn and was going toward a paved road. So I flew out, got to the woods transitions from where the mature trees were with an overgrown clear cut, and I turned left, and I started to start a grid search here. As I flew toward the road, the property began to narrow down. You can see the road coming into the view here. So I wanted to search this side of the road thoroughly before we, had to go look elsewhere, because I felt like the deer probably would have stayed on this side of the road. If you can see, I see a small thermal signature here, and I don't know how thick the ground surface is here. So I checked all these small thermal signatures just to make sure it's not, a deer's head poking out from underneath a bush, or a leg or something. But that turned out to be a rabbit. And again, If I can see a rabbit, I ought to be able to see a deer. So I turned around and I could see how thick this vegetation was. And when you search in thick stuff like this, I found it's best to point the camera almost straight down and look straight down into the thick vegetation. When you go at it at an angle when it's really, really thick, you cannot see deer out in front of you. So I began to fly my grid pattern. And on my first leg of the grid, I come up on something in just a second, and it catches my attention. You see the thermal. I said, oh boy, we might have a winner here. So when I hit the regular camera to see what it was, all I could see was a pine top. I knew there was something there because I could see the thermal signature, but the vegetation between me and the ground was just too thick to see. So about this time, the canine handler had pulled up, and the hunter was trying to, I think he was getting impatient with my search. So he was ready to take the dog off into the bushes. When they started, I said, hey, I think I got your deer.
Hey! Why don't I just show you the deer?
Hey, you got it.
That's him.
Where's he at?
There he is.
This is my little boy's first deer. Did he look big, or he got ground shrinkage? I told everybody, I done bragged about how big the deer gonna be. He gonna be a little 4-pointer.
No, man, he had a big body on it. He looked like a mule.
Something's covering his horns, ain't it?
Vegetation, but I'll move around.
Golly, that's neat.
So the drone's dead over it.
No, but I put it right over it when you go in there.
Man, that's neat. I can watch this thing all day long. Well, I hate. Look.
Yeah. Spotlight's on him.
Yeah, I see it. I see it moving.
So the hunter, the dog handler, his dog, and his friend were going to go retrieve the deer at this time. I want to make note, the hunter was so excited. He had told me that this deer was one of the largest 8-pointers he'd ever seen. He said he had probably 12-inch G2s and 10-inch G3s. And he was so excited because this deer was so huge on his property. When he saw the deer in the viewfinder just a few minutes ago, he kind of changed his tone, and I don't know if you caught it, but he said, "Oh." So I know it's a good deer. I can see it's a good deer, but I don't think it was exactly what he was expecting. But they're walking in. The canine handler, he made a comment. He says, well, you brought the drone guy. What in the world you call me for? Because that thing will find anything. And I was excited to hear him say that. And guys, drones have a place to search for deer. There's no doubt about it. Dogs have their place. So both of these are great tools to use when you can't find your deer. I wouldn't say one is better than the other. They both have their place in the hunting situations such as this. But y'all enjoy the footage.
Geothermal Drone Services finds another one. I'm telling you guys, don't let your deer waste. Just give me the thumbs up. we can find your deer. Looks like a pretty good 8-pointer. I think his little boy might have shot him. He also called a dog tracker, but I got here first. He was wanting to make sure he found this deer. And I guess the dog got some training in tonight, but pretty good deer.
Well, the guys got the deer loaded up, got him back, got the young man out of bed. He was in his pajamas, but buddy, he was excited. AGL Thermal Drone Services. Elevate your vision. We're located in Central Georgia. If we can help you find your trophy, please don't hesitate to give us a call. If you like our videos, please hit the like button, hit the subscribe, and we'll try to bring more content out on YouTube. Y'all have a great season.